Jacksonville Night 2 was the UConn men's basketball team in the last two NCAA tournaments. Jacksonville Night 1 was any opponent of the UConn men's basketball team in the last two NCAA tournaments. The margin of victory was not even close, and it was very historic. Amazing what a day can do. The D&B post-show stream starts now with my predictions pre-show. What up? It's your boy Concert Vids 34 giving you that weather report for Jacksonville Night 2 D&B at Daly's Place, the house that Khan built. Now we are going to look back to last night because last night was an interesting mixed bag of weather. Our friends to the north in Nassau County were hit hard during the evening commute. When the World Ends, Funny the Way It Is, and Jimmy Thing. Now, things did lighten up a little bit after Jimmy Thing, as Minarets and Dream Girl were two gems there that hopped in along with A Stolen Away. And then by the end of the night, all of the turbulent weather conditions did clear up for an epic What You Are at the end of the night. Now we want to look forward to tonight's show, Jacksonville Night 2. Now, shout out to Clyde Frog 811 on Reddit. He did have this theory. Tampa show was the first show of the tour. They opened with Under the Table and Dreaming, Warehouse. The second show of the tour opened up with a Crash song, the second album from the band, Tripping Billies. And then West Palm Beach Night 2, we had a Before These Crowded Streets song to open up PNP. Jacksonville Night 1, the fourth album from the band, Every Day, saw an opener of When the World Ends. Now, Clyde Frog did predict that tonight would be Gray Street. I am going to have a slightly different forecast. I believe they're going to start off the show with Busted Stuff. Now, I do believe as well some of the turbulent Bayou, You and Me, Shake Me Closer front that is popping up to our north will stay in Georgia proper, not in South Georgia, which is the Jacksonville metro. I do think that we will also see things from Crash. That is something that I can almost guarantee. Expect a lot of Crash for tonight. Drive In, Drive Out is one of those things I think we'll see. Possibly 41. Right on that. And for sure, Say Goodbye is on that list. The great news is tonight is looking good because we won't have to suffer through Jimmy Thing. We won't have to spend for 45 minutes for another crush without any innovation. And we will open up space for that ABI Break Free suite that they've been doing for a while.
Just break free.
Do expect to see something like The Stone or Don't Drink the Water. I do think Don't Drink the Water does have a tour debut tonight. So it is looking a lot better for tonight. I mean, they can't start off with the worst. Well, they could, but that's not the point.
They did.
I think the boys are going to bring it tonight. They're going to get over that heat and kind of getting into South Georgia for their first show here in this area of the country, just north of Florida proper, and be on the lookout for a great night too. This is going to be for the diehard deep cut lovers. You're not going to have the casual fan songs like Every Day on for tonight. Obviously, unless they repeat it, which they won't repeat it, guys. We're good. They're not going to repeat Every Day. Thank you guys for watching this weather report, and stay tuned. The D&B post show stream will be right after this show ends in Jacksonville. I will have some people on, and if you want to be on, message me Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, ConcertViz34.
It's your boy ConcertViz34 back at home.
What up? It's your boy ConcertViz34.
Yep, so your boy ConcertViz34 coming to you here.
What up? It's your boy ConcertViz34. Thank you. Aria. Okay, so this is Aria, and just tell us a little bit about yourself and about your love for the Dave Matthews Band.
I've been a fan of the band since April 28, 1998, and if you recognize the date, that's when Before These Crowded Streets was released.
Alpine is definitely a better venue than Summerfest, but we'll take it. I think I've been going to shows for about 20-something years.
I always tell people, like, compare D&B to now to when I first started. And I got started, in my opinion, I feel like I got started late. Like, I was at the very end of the band's prime. I feel like that 03 to 06 was like the end of the prime. 07, 08 was like we're at the very end, and then when Roy passed.
But Dave really, this is the thing. Dave has put, Rashawn has been assigned the quarterback of this team. He is the coach, the play caller. He designs the jams. Dave just shows up and plays whatever he's going to play. Jacksonville, what up? Duval. St. Augustine, what up? Daytona Beach, what up? Albany, Georgia, what up? Savannah, Georgia, what up? Jekyll Island, where the Federal Reserve was created. What up? What you know about that story, huh? St. Johns County, what up? Nassau County, what up? Orlando, what up? Kissimmee, what up? Shout out to this set tonight. Free full band Dodo. You got next, Rocky Woodlands up next. Shout out to Houston. Tallahassee, what up? RIP New York Mets. Let's go Yankees. What up, what up? It's your boy ConcertViz34. Thank you guys for joining the DMB post-show stream. And our guests are preparing to get on. Henry will be on in about 25 minutes. Once he gets situated, he did tape the show. Provided some photos for me as well. Shout out to Bridget. My friend Bridget got the set list from Carter's kit, or Carter's placement of that set. And we got Kenny, who's going to be joining us here shortly. He is much happier than last night. I can spoiler alert. He is much happier than he was last night. The main thing, and I say this probably every other show, I advocate for the fan who says, hey, you know what? I don't like every single Dave Matthews Band song. This band changed my life. But there are shows that like tonight that are very good, and there are show flows, even though they're giving their all, and it's going to happen. It happens every year, that just aren't as good. And then there's fans who say, well, I like every show, and you should be grateful for every show. And that's fine too. But the main purpose of my channel is to give as many fans as possible a voice, but also try to explain with stats and data and in detailed breakdown why a night like tonight is better for a fan like me. And maybe a night like yesterday is better for other fans, but they can come in and call in and explain that if they went to both shows. But this happens every year. We have a night one, you have some fans, oh my gosh, how will they ever top it? Hello. How will they ever top night one, bruh? They just had to have a pulse tonight. And the pulse tonight was through the roof. It was like 3,000 beats per minute. And I was fortunate enough to catch some of this on Couch Tour. Thank you for everyone who streams on there. So why was it better? First off, you start off with a show that has a P&P into Granny. Granny is a song that casual fans who go to a show a year like, and most fans who love deep cuts or like me want more from a show, love it. So you get P&P into Granny. And that's a great creation right there. Instead of When the World Ends. Duh, duh, tss, duh, 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 duh. Like, we've heard that too much in the last couple of years. And I think that song, when it slides out for a couple of years, it comes in a couple of times, it has its point. Granny is a song I could hear almost every show and I'd be happy. So they start off with that. They add in an Away from the World song. And not every fan likes Sweet. Maybe it's a little too slow at the start of a show, but I do enjoy what the band does in Sweet. And there is a contingent of fans who wants to hear more Away from the World live. It's something that Dave has kind of admitted at the time. He kind of didn't. It seemed like he wanted to put it away in a box, most of those songs. And fans are waiting. Some fans want Mercy. Some fans want Gaucho. And we can debate here and there. I don't think everything needs to come back. Some fans want Snow Outside. Some fans want Belly Full. But adding in an Away from the World song in 2024 is a good call for like, even if it is something like Mercy that I didn't like in 2012. They've revamped it in 2019. And then you have Fish Tender. If you threw Fish Tender into last night's show, the whole show changes. The whole show changes last night if there is a Big Eye Fish into Bartender. And so they have Big Eye Fish into Bartender, and it changes the game. The first 4 songs of this set, maybe some people don't like Sweet, but other than that, the majority of fans are going to be excited about that. The first 4 songs of last night, some fans may like it, but there were a lot of fans online that didn't like it. And that's not the full show. That's not the full contingent, but a lot of fans online travel to a lot of shows. So when you have traveling fans, some of the fans, like Kenny last night, has one tone last night. I'm always happy to go to a show, but listen, it wasn't as good as I hoped for. And then a show like tonight, just adding that Big Eye Fish and the Bartender covers for other things to be played. They could have played Jimmy tonight if they didn't play at night 1, and you have a Fish Tender still in there. So much to say, bridge too much. This is another thing. Not playing one Crash song the entire night 1 was criminal. But tonight we got a bunch of Crash. We got So Much Bridge Too Much. We got 41. We got Crash Into Me, which comes to my next point. Play Crash Into Me. Forget a 45-minute crush. Just play Crash Into Me. Now, some fans aren't going to like it, but I will say this. The fact that it's not overplayed in this band's current history is why they can get away with it in this band's current history. Again, some fans may not like it, but you take away Crush, you have a couple other songs you can add in, like Crash Into Me. So they added Crash in. Lion Our Graves also phenomenal. Tim did a great job on that solo. Right? But having those Crash songs was another thing. And 41 didn't have that sax solo. I still think it really could use it. But it doesn't matter tonight because tonight was such a great show. Why even waste my breath on that? This was such a great show. I love the usage of Looking for a Vein in between the So Much Bridge Too Much and the 41 Let's Dance Crash Into Me Gray Street. That is their timeout. That's their TV timeout. And I think that it is great. Cooper Jones, he says the buildup in Crush is organic. The buildup in Crush, the problem with the jam in Crush, I said it last night, there's no innovation. It's boring. The actual like Dave and Tim version is great because they get to the lyrics and then they do a little acoustic back and forth. But the stuff, the Tim solo is predictable. The horn stuff it's been around since Little Overpass when I became going to live shows in 2012. What was that, around when Rashawn was great to add innovation to Crush. That whole thing was good. Since then, it's stale and it's too long. And part of the issue with Crush is this band, when it plays a song with length, it's got to have quality, in my opinion. And juxtapose that even with the song like Stone, where Jeff Coffin went off on that sax solo, soprano sax solo. How you doing? Huh? That was what this weekend at West Palm. So you have no Crush, you have no Jimmy thing, and there's a bunch of songs that just stand up. I would have never thought I would be talking to you in 2024 and say, I like the song, I like the show that had, if you said there's 2 Jacksonville shows, I never thought I would say I like the show with the 2 covers versus the one with no covers. That's the case tonight. Let's Dance was great. I'm not a fan of Watchtower. I believe it should go away, but the crowd loves it. And after a show like this, I'm not going to complain. Right. But this was and then here's the thing. So if I really want to nitpick, some of the energy dies down with Ditch, but there's a lot of fans that are chasing Digging a Ditch because it's hard to get in certain pockets of if you tour in certain areas of the country. I thought Spaceman, after Lie in Our Graves, I thought Spaceman hits a wall. It hits another brick in the wall when it gets to the solo part. I think the biggest problem with Spaceman, the lyrics and the lyrical portions of it are fine, but Spaceman, the actual soloing parts, there's no room. There's no room, in my opinion. Now, again, Rashawn is talented. The band is talented, but it doesn't have the feeling of when, like, juxtapose Spaceman and Break Free and think about all the stuff that goes on in both of those songs. But again, tonight, that they can do that, Spaceman and whatever. Hey, and some people like that song too. Like, I'm not saying people don't like it. I just think the solo part falls flat. A song that really still is bussing right now is Break Free. And that Break Free jam, it hits every time. It's like a Daniel Danger poster. It doesn't miss. That Break Free solo, Buddy comes in, and then you have the trumpet and the sax, and compare Rashawn on Break Free. Hey, right? Compare that to Spaceman, where it's like do 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 do, and I love the tempo change, the key signature uniqueness in a Spaceman, but the jam just it's a swing and a miss. Okay, it's like that Mets pitcher who just got kicked out of the game, to me. But nonetheless, we don't even want to focus on that, because again, this show gave something for everybody. And so I'm listening to Couch Tour, and I'm not there, but when you're seeing the surrounding area of people, Break Free, Warehouse, energy keeps going. You think and with these shows now, you don't know if they'll end on 16 or 17. Hi, Robin. Hope all is well. I think you're down in Fort Myers now, and I'm so bad we couldn't connect because you didn't do Tampa, you did West Palm. You were coming back down to your Florida home, but hope all is well in is that Collier County in Fort Myers? Is Collier County for anyway? I hope you're doing well down there. Nonetheless, the energy Break Free to Warehouse to You Might Die Trying was phenomenal. Looking around, people, the Couch Tour people kind of showing you the crowd. It looked incredible. And so you like that is the type of run. No real deep cuts. I know some of you guys are saying Sugar Will. I love Sugar Will. And I think it's a song where having the 04 versions are great, but having the right solo from Tim makes it amazing. I remember I got that in Mansfield 2016 was my first Sugar Will. And I got a couple other ones. I think 1 or 2 other ones. But I would love for Sugar Will to come back. That is one of my favorite songs. My first, when I went to my first show in 2012, I still had mixed CDs I would burn on my laptop. My Dell XPS, and then I had another one. They still had that CD drive. And so I burnt an entire CD of deep cuts that I didn't really know. Because remember, I started listening to this band in 2005, but it was more Pandora radio. It was more the mainstream hits. There were so many songs I still had to explore. From 2005 to 2012, I didn't explore. I didn't know what Beach Ball was. I didn't know what Blackjack is. So Sugar Will from Live Tracks 2 was on that with Santana. Not that Santana, not Julia Santana, but Carlos Santana. And that was, I can still remember driving on Interstate 495 to Cape Cod, listening to that Sugar Will on the highway. And on that trip down to see a friend in Cape Cod, I listened to it on the way back too. And that Sugar Will sticks with me. And I want to tie that in because I posted it on X. The other reason that I advocate for shows like this, where you get Fish Tender, where you get a break free, where you get some deep cuts, and you maybe even just get what I believe are better songs, is because a fan can walk away from this show. It may be their first show. It may be intimidating for them. A friend may have dragged them along. And I said on X tonight, somebody is going to Google, if they heard someone say Fish Tender, somebody's going to walk away from this show and Google Fish Tender, find a Copper Pot video that has it, or find another video online that has Big Eye Fish and the bartender. And they're going to be like, you know what? Over the next 3 to 4 months, they're going to realize how awesome it was to have that Fish Tender. They may have appreciated it a little bit, but it's so overwhelming in your first show. My first show, I had Blackjack in 2012. And it just was like, what is going on? Why is there no lyrics? And then I like, as time has gone on, I appreciate that Blackjack. I don't appreciate the cornbread closing out the encore, but I appreciate that Blackjack. And so I've always advocated that even if you were if most of the room is casual fans, maybe not a festival, but maybe a midweek show like Jacksonville Night 1, where you have some fans who are there for the first time, they got corporate boxes and all that, or what have you. If you play them Stone, if you do P&P into Pig, if you do a Fish Tender, if you do P&P into Granny, if you play a Dreaming Tree like you did in West Palm Beach, if you bring some of those special moments to the middle of the week, it may not hit them right at that show, but they'll appreciate it at some point if they continue to follow this band along. And I've talked to fans from every era of this band, from the early 90s to present, and some of them look back at their first show and say, oh, that was special. That was special. That was special. And it took me 3 years to realize that. It took me 3 months to realize that. But when you have great songs, when you have deep cuts thrown in with the hits, you get a larger amount of fans who will learn to love those deep cuts. Not everyone's going to love these deep cuts. You're still going to have songs like Captain that people go to the bathroom to, which I love, and I'll stay at my seat. And good, go to the bathroom, right? Go to the bathroom, and that's it. Is that Henry?
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to set up Henry. I'm going to set up Henry on the interview screen, but we're going to keep talking here. Let's see. So I got to add him. But and here's, again, this happens every single time, folks. It happens every single time. We have a night one that some of the fans don't like. The other side of the fans, like on Reddit, people are downvoting anyone who said, hey, I didn't like that set. Stop complaining. Every single time this happens. The second night or the next time there's a big show, everybody is happy. So the fans who are happy for night one are happy night two. And then the fans who are happy more people are happy for night 2. There is always someone who's not going to like this set. I want it every day. That was yesterday, right? That's going to happen. But nonetheless, I still believe in the power of having sets that are balanced like tonight, that has a little bit of everything, but really promotes some of the stuff that maybe a fan doesn't know. All right. So again, we're getting Henry set up in the back. But thank you guys. Kelly, I see you on there. Your New York Rangers are contending for a cup. I mean, sorry, Kelly, I don't want them to win. I want the Panthers to win. Paul Maurice was the Whalers coach way back in the mid-'90s when I was a kid. But, I hope your day is well. I can't root for the Rangers, but I'm glad. If they play the Bruins, I root for them. They play the Habs or the Maple Leafs. That's fine. Anyway, nonetheless, Kelly, thank you for hopping in. Let's see here, and we're almost. All right, so that should be it. Oh, yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is we're going to go ahead and bring on Henry and make sure you guys can hear him. You should be able to. I know we had some audio difficulties last night, but I believe I have resolved those issues. Let's go ahead and bring on Henry. All right. Henry, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you, man?
I'm doing well. So tell us about this show. We have the set list superimposed in between us here. What did you think about tonight?
I'm in the same way I feel about just about every night. I'm one of those fans who's just happy to be there and thankful that they can still see their favorite band after 28 years of seeing shows and 29. When you said there's those fans that are like, oh, I want every day, but it happened yesterday, I'm so upset. Or some person on the internet today who was like, if I don't get Last Stop, I'm gonna leave or something, or some nonsense on the internet. A couple of I like it all. Even the songs that aren't my favorite songs, like You Might Die Trying, is probably in my bottom 10.
Yeah.
I'm not upset that they're playing it. I'm just happy that I'm there, man. It was had a great time there with my daughter, seeing some old friends, making some new friends. It's great. It's all great.
And so what is it like to bring your daughter to a show? You go to most of these shows without kids, and you get an opportunity to do that.
It's special because she's the age that I was when I found this band.
Wow.
And 15. I think I might have been 14. It's either 14 or 15, but generally the same age. And the first song at my first show was number 41. They played that song tonight. So I get all that nostalgia there. And it's just sharing the important parts of your life with your family. And they because I work on the Almanac so much and I'm so involved with all of this, they hear a lot of Dave Matthews. And when they walk past my bedroom door, they'll close the door when they hear the music without saying anything, because they're just kind of sick of hearing whatever it is that's coming out of the room.
Yeah.
But taking them to a show and sharing the experience, where it all came from, means it's important to me. I want them to see what my life is about,
That's awesome. And how was the heat tonight? How was the humidity tonight compared to last night?
I didn't think last night was all that terrible, but I've lived in the South my whole life. So a 90-degree day and 55% humidity is just called May, I don't know. It just doesn't seem that big a deal to me. But it was definitely cooler today. There was more of a breeze, although where we were in the pit, where I was last night, I could feel the air conditioning from behind the stage kind of puffing out a little bit. So I never got too hot last night anyway. But it was definitely not as humid, and there was a lot more breeze, and you could tell it was not as hot, which was nice.
Gotcha. And the band definitely put on a hotter set, in my opinion. But obviously, that's everyone has their own taste. What was your favorite? Oh, there's a set list. So you got a set list. So you don't have to worry. We don't have to send it to the almanac because you have it.
I already uploaded it. Yeah, it's funny. My daughter's fingertips are in the almanac permanently as she's holding the set list that we uploaded.
There you go. You got
another kind of cool thing you get to do.
2 generations of the family in the business there. What was your favorite song of the night?
I mean, the first time I ever heard the term fish tender, I think I heard you say it. So like, and knowing that I was going to try to hop on tonight, when they started playing Big Eyed Fish, I just kind of like thought of you in this stream that I was probably going to be on later today, and I don't remember the last time I heard. I don't know if I'm sure I've heard of Fish Tender before, but I don't remember when the last time it was. I'm sure in 2002 they did that a lot. Sorry, I can't think of it off the top of my head. But I thought that was great. It's a thing that gets talked about a lot, and so the crowd really liked it. Gray Street's my favorite song. I've seen it 83 times now, so of course that's great for me. Here on Out is not a song that I know very well because it's just not a song I've really listened to before and don't know it well, so I've really enjoyed that. I enjoyed that in the encore. I've only seen it maybe a couple of times. Yeah, but I think the Fish Tender was probably my favorite. And again, 41, because it was the first song that I saw live in 96, and my daughter was there, and we got to have it together. It was also my oldest daughter went to her first show 2 years ago, and it was the first song she got at her first show, and it was the first song at my first show, and now here with Jacqueline, she got it too. It's just kind of turning into our thing. So
I feel like you're putting in calls for songs then. What a coincidence. I didn't get 41 for my first, I think, 4 or 5 shows. I got Blackjack, Dreaming Tree, all that stuff before my first 41. Spoon, Rhyme and Reason, Drunk. Well, anyway. And also, guys, just to let you know, Henry has not heard portions of Some Devil, right? He even though he's part of the almanac, he's listened to thousands upon thousands of hours. You okay?
Yeah, there's 3. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, there's 3 albums I've listened to exactly once, and just didn't connect with it. I didn't really, no offense, but I didn't really like them. And that's the Some Devil album, Come Tomorrow, and Away from the World. So obviously I know a lot of songs from those albums, but I have but like, because they don't play Dodo live at all, I have no idea what that song sounds like. I only heard it once 20 years ago.
Wow.
And I do a lot of almanac work. I avoid those songs intentionally and just kind of stay away as much as I can. And I only know what I hear live at the shows on those albums.
Wow. So Dave, please play Dodo so Henry can understand the greatness in the song. I don't blame you. Come Tomorrow. Listen, that was anyway. Neither here nor there. And also, let's talk about when I was on the Couch Tour. Dave, it's a very hard song here on out to play and sing, but Dave seemed to do the chorus like twice and then get into the verse. What was going on there?
So I don't know the song well enough to have caught that, but you'll hear the tape, and I don't know if I'll get it done tonight. It might be tomorrow morning, probably by 8 a.m. that I'll get it up and out. But you'll hear after he played some of the song, he says, while he's still playing it, he says, "We'll start that one again," or "Sorry guys, I'll start it again." He says that, something like that. And then you could tell he kind of started the song over. So yeah, there was definitely something going on there that wasn't right. He kind of chuckled about it. You could tell when he was playing the song, it's a very tough song to play and sing. And you could tell that he was like it was an F. Some songs you can tell, like the song that Jane likes, he didn't have to think about that song. He's just playing it. This one you could tell he was mentally preparing himself to sing it as he was kind of plucking away at the chords, walking up to the microphone. So yeah, something went wrong there. You'll hear it tomorrow.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting, but again, it's a hard song to play and sing, so that makes sense. I mean, there's other songs that he messes up, and you're like, oh wait, he spaces out. This one, it takes a lot of focus. What was the environment like tonight, as far as the reacting to some of the different parts of the show?
Crowd seemed a little bit more kind of up for it tonight and a little more engaged. Not a huge difference from last night. Sometimes you'll be at shows and one night and then the next night are totally different vibes. I didn't get that. I didn't really get that. It didn't seem pretty similar. Also, the pit in Jacksonville, for those of you who've never been there before or never seen it or don't know anything about it, it's kind of a normal size pit. It's not huge like Bristow. It's not tiny like West Palm. It's kind of in the middle. But this pit in Jacksonville is sold out, has huge open spaces in the corners. So it's not super tightly packed. I mean, there was a woman in a wheelchair next to us who had plenty of space to see the show clearly. So
Wow.
It's a little bit of a different vibe in there than you get from places like Deer Creek or Camden, where the pit is so packed you're like sardines in there.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody in there has got a bit of a different vibe. Like you can just openly dance like very easily in there. So it kind of changes people's attitudes versus the ones where it's just like super uncomfortable, which I think adds to the vibe of the show, frankly.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, a pit being undersold. We talked about it with you in Orange Beach last year. A pit being undersold versus it being like the Alpine or Deer Creek pits, which I don't see myself even trying to get tickets to. It's just it's too much. I'd rather have seats. So that's great though that was the vibe down there in the pit area. Any other thoughts about the show, about this 2-night stand?
I did the first 5 shows in Florida, and it kind of blends together. Like when you go to a lot of shows like this, and you've been to a lot of shows. I'm not trying to like brag about it anyway, but it all kind of starts to blend together, and you kind of forget like where you are and what you're seeing. And I wasn't going to go to any shows 2 weeks ago, and all of a sudden I was going to 5. What I say? I got a lot of. So again, I keep thinking about my first shows, and this was August 30th, '96.
Yeah.
And I think it was night one, West Palm Beach. I got 7 songs that night that were played at my first show 28 years ago.
Wow.
So, I mean, I don't remember that entire set list. I'm sure it's, I know in a typical situation, all along the Watchtower, ants marching, I don't know, complete little thing in the encore. Number 41, what would you say, that sort of era of songs. And to get almost half of that set list in a single show 28 years later, and an era that I love, which is like 96, that's my kind of my, what got me into this band, sort of that era.
Yeah.
I just think that's great. And I got a lot of them again tonight. So Much, Too Much, Warehouse, certainly played at that show. Number 41, All Along the Watchtower. To still be able to hear those songs live from your favorite band 28 years later, it's just a real privilege. And I keep telling people, and I brought it up some this week, like, when will my last show be? And will I know it's my last show when I'm at it? And, if the answer is no, and you don't know when your last show is going to be. Like, I'm perfectly happy with this era potentially being that, because I'm getting new songs that I like. I'm getting my favorite song. I'm getting old songs that I saw at my first shows. I'm getting everything I want from this band right now, and we're just lucky, I think.
All right. Well, great perspective there. Thank you for coming on, Henry. Thank you for taping. Thank you for helping out with the almanac, getting those different timings and listening to recordings and all you do for the community. Have a good one. Take care.
Thanks, Marcus. See you, bro. Bye-bye.
All right. All right. So we're going to transition back to the main. All right. So here we are. Oh, that camera's delayed. Let's get over here. All right, so, hey guys. We're going to call Kenny up and see how he's doing. He wasn't able to connect. We have Kumi's videos as well that we'll play. Those are very quick and short. And let's go ahead. Let me know if the volume drops. I think the reason the volume dropped, I tried to connect them to my my laptop audio interface, and then once I tried to go back to the regular one to the mic, it turned everything down. But I'm gonna try to call Kenny here. Let me know again in the comments if it goes down in an earlier round.
What's up, Marcus?
Oh my God, they killed Kenny. Nah, just kidding. What up?
I'm dead.
What up, man? How you doing?
Oh, doing great, man. What a difference a night makes, and to drive home last night versus tonight. I feel like I'm in the clouds right now.
What made tonight better for you than night one?
Well, first of all, it's a lot cooler. It seemed to be, but yeah, I mean, it's just the set list. In West Palm, we did the PNP fake, and I was wondering if they were gonna cap it off with Rapunzel at the end, which they didn't, but it was cool, man. And it's like I said last night, I felt like the way this band's been going for the better part of a year, that was a dud compared to what they're capable of. And tonight they literally did a 180, and it was just a much better show with better songs. And I'm kind of glad that if they were going to do that last night, get them all out of the way, because most of the songs I didn't want to hear were in that set. So I figured tonight it couldn't be that bad to start with, because those songs have been played,
Absolutely. You rule out Jimmy. You rule out Every Day. You're not going to get a When the World Ends opener. And another unique thing about this show, you guys still didn't get Shake Me. You didn't get You and Me. You didn't get Don't Drink the Water. This still could have been a show where you got like Can't Stop, That Girl Is You. All these sort of songs that just should not come back, in my opinion. But that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
Satellite, yep. So you guys got a lot of just great songs here. What was your favorite song of the night?
Favorite song of the night? I love Big Eyed Fish, and I was just ecstatic when they played. I saw the 12-string come out, and thought it could possibly be Gray Street, which they played later in the set, which was amazing. But every time I hear the opening strum the chords to Big Eyed Fish, it just takes me back. I've loved that song since on the Late White Session. So, that was one of my favorite songs of the night. And then, man, I was just so happy to hear Lie in Our Graves. Haven't heard it in a while. And they played, speaking of, Henry, I went to my first show in 96, June 4th, 96 at Virginia Beach Amphitheater. And they actually opened with 41 as well, my first show ever. And but they also played Lie in Our Graves, and that took me back, because I haven't heard it in a while. And I've just always loved that song, man. It was such a cool thing hearing so many songs from Crash. I feel like in West Palm it was the Before These Crowded Streets show, and then I come to this show and I get a bunch of Crash, good stuff from Crash. So it was great, man.
Definitely great observation there. Definitely was Future. She Belonged to the Streets this weekend, and this was the Crash show. They drove in, drove out, and they leave Jacksonville. To me, on a high note, outside of the Watchtower close, I thought it was a great set to give you everything that you kind of were hoping for as you walked off yesterday, trying to be grateful for what you saw, but knowing that, listen, you got a bunch of songs you didn't like last night. Tonight you get ones that you love, and the people who were happy last night, most of them are happy tonight. Did you get the poster? Did you check out what the poster scene was like for this poster?
You know, I have to shamefully say this, man. I've been to tonight was 46.
Yeah.
I've never bought a single poster ever for DMB, man. I never got into it. And I'm kicking myself because I've been to so many cool shows. And, you know, obviously I'm a collector. I'm a big sports card collector, you know, baseball cards. And how I never got into posters is beyond me, because I'd probably have a small mint by now with some of the shows I've been to. But I never did. I actually walked by the merch tent or merch stand after the show, and it was sold out.
Okay.
I really wanted to I was thinking about getting West Palm Night 2. That was with the ambulance under the water. That was an absolutely gorgeous poster, but it sold out before I got to it, man. I would have definitely bought that poster, though, but I didn't get a chance to.
Yeah, well, you're probably better off not getting into the poster game, because it can be stressful, and then people buy all these posters to try to pay their rent off, and then they get poster money. They sell 5 posters, then they go to buy 5 more shows, and they try to sell 5 more posters no one likes. Anyway, no, I love posters, but it can be stressful too if you get too hooked into it.
Yeah.
But
I'd totally be into it, man. I guess it's never too late to start. I mean, I feel like I've missed so many shows, and I guess they didn't start doing posters until some time, and I don't think they had them in like the 90s when I was doing it. But either way, I guess it's never too late to start. But I didn't get it tonight. I wasn't crazy about the poster tonight, but the ones in West Palm were fantastic, and I missed my show. I didn't go to night 1, so I didn't get that. But by the way, shout out to a couple of people I met at the show that were standing behind me. Jake and Jaden, man. He's a 16-year-old kid. Met him. He listens to your stream. And
okay.
It's 10th DMB show. And he's 16. So I was going to my first DMB show when I was 16. So shout out to him, man.
All right, shout out Jake and Jaden. Thank you guys for watching the stream. And that's awesome, though, that there's still fans. And we're going to be talking about Cameron. He's in the chat. I don't know if he had to leave, but we're going to be looking at his video. He played the last stop at a middle school music concert that he had. So it's amazing to still see more and more kids come in. Obviously, bands like Zeppelin, the Stones, without a doubt, that they're going to have just generational, they keep adding generations. With DMB, to me, it feels like something where you think that they're not as relevant with this current generation, because you don't see people. I mean, they may even like the Foo Fighters or know other rock bands that have much more relevance mainstream, where DMB really relies on a lot of people that are in their 40s and 50s and late 30s to just keep coming. If they stop coming, that's it. Where you have someone online was like, they're an older Zeppelin fan. They're like, I was at some, festival. Someone covered Have a Cigar, and there's 20-year-olds singing it. You see people with Nirvana shirts on. Most of them can't name 3 songs, but it's still like culturally relevant. But you do have a lot of young kids now. I think one of the things is a lot of kids now with Spotify and Apple Music, they can legally listen to the original album quality, CD quality, or even better, of anything that they see a t-shirt of. So if they have a Rolling Stones t-shirt, some kids my brother would do. He's only a couple years younger than me, but he wasn't into all this rock stuff. But he was listening to Pink Floyd when he was in his 20s, and he's like, "Yo, this is dope." I'm like, "Yeah, man, that's what I was trying to tell you, man." Like, so it's with Spotify and with just the internet, YouTube at your disposal. I think that you don't see, obviously there's tons of kids who just don't rock with it. And by the way, side note, look at me. If your kid does not like DMB, let it go. There's some fans, they're like, my husband and my children, they're great. My kid gets straight A's, but he doesn't like DB. That's fine. But it is still great to see that there
Speaking
are
of
kids.
that, man, I have a 9-year-old daughter named Grace.
Oh, okay.
That is back in Virginia Beach, and I'm not with her at the moment, but yeah, she hasn't been to a show, and I don't think she's really into it. But I had to. It was either Grace or Stella. My wife didn't want Stella, so I went with Grace.
Gotcha.
That's kind of a joke, yeah. But I think it's a beautiful name. I'm glad I actually named her that because obviously Grace is gone. It's a Corby right now, but hey, good times always come. So
Yeah. Any other observations about this night, about the environment, anything?
Yeah, I mean, I think the crowd was a lot more lively. It seemed, I think that was about the same capacity each night. We sold out. It was a very small venue, man. Dave made a comment about how he loves the place and how he likes coming there, and he really must, because the band could fill a much bigger venue, but they choose to go to Jacksonville for a reason. So. Crowd was way more into it, but I think that just comes down to the set list, man. I mean, again, there's always going to be people that want to come to hear this song or that song, but the energy was just, for the most part, nonstop. I use Spaceman to go get some water and go to the bathroom personally.
Good choice.
There really wasn't many bathroom songs tonight. Last night you could have gone 4 or 5 times personally, but yeah, it was a great show, man. I mean, literally my thirst was quenched. I left the show last night wanting more, and maybe that's because I've been to so many. I know what a great set is versus not. Obviously, last night left a lot to be desired, but they made up for it and then some tonight. So,
yeah. And I think, speaking of Daly's Place, I think what's great about it, I've been to Jacksonville, never been to the venue, but some of the southern shows, like in Orange Beach, there's too many seats. Like sometimes it fills in last minute, but there's still that possibility that you're in the middle of the week, you're not going to get a crowd. And let's be honest, this is just a general observation. I think everyone's seen it. With the cost of these tickets and with the economy the way it is, you're seeing a lot of artists struggle to sell tickets. So when you have a place like Daly's Place, in a market that DMB, listen, fans travel to it. You traveled. You got a lot of fans that are within 2-3 hours of this venue. Atlanta folks that are maybe a little further, not too far from that. But like when you only have 4,000 or 5,000 seats, it's a better look. And even the fact, listen, it's a couple of levels. So it's not like when an amphitheater is empty, if they don't sell out Orange Beach, they're going to see those empty bleachers in the back. Where a venue like Daly's Place, yeah, there may be some stuff hit or miss. You can't tell if the pit's undersold if it's just there's still people there. So I think it's a great thing, especially, and the band is exploring a lot of smaller venues for certain tours. You see Mohegan get picked in Hartford now, not even on, that's because of the shortened tour, but even the Hartford's in jeopardy because the lawn is 22,000. So I think Daly's Place, I think the Orion Amphitheater that they opened up, but it is AXS. It's not a Ticketmaster venue, but certain venues in the South, Ascend is too small in Nashville, but like certain venues do fit this band better in markets that aren't as big into getting fans over.
You know what I think too? I think that as many years as DMB's toured, and all this similar familiar stops, sometimes they maybe just want to switch the venue up just to go to a different place and experience something different and different seats and a different, just different dressing room. I mean, these guys are human. They may want variety sometimes, so it's cool to come to a place like this. It's a great looking place. It almost looks like a theater. And I was fortunate enough to have great seats both nights. I had fantastic seats. And I have to say the pit was very, very undersold, man. There was so much room in the pit. I couldn't believe it. I've never seen anything like it at Daly's Place.
Yeah, and that's a great point. the band has really gravitated towards newer venues. Now, some of that is promoters try to get acts out, like the Foo Fighters played this small amphitheater in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and there's no reason to go to Bridgeport, Connecticut, but they really wanted to put that money up to get Foo Fighters to try to just get the buzz up. But I think that DMB, they do Yamava last year. They were gonna do Oklahoma, a casino out there. It didn't work out because of protocol disagreements. But I think this band loves to be treated well, and part of the reason they go to Guilford, New Hampshire every year is because the way they get treated. Even though that venue is not new, the amenities and the staff and everyone out there treats them so well. They go up to the woods in New Hampshire. Chris Stapleton, who can fill up large amphitheaters.
And that's a place you don't want anybody to go, right? It's like a barn. Right?
Yeah, don't go. It's just they treat the band good. They treat everyone else bad. I'm just saying the band's treated good. Don't go to Guilford.
Yeah. I'd love to get there one day. I heard it's a great stop, man. And last year was an absolute banger of 2 nights.
No, stay down there. Don't come up. Don't cross the Mason-Dixon line. I'm sorry.
Well, let me tell you, man, I've been to 4 shows in the past week. I didn't think I was only going to 1, so I literally hit 3 extra shows I wasn't planning on. So my tank's a little empty right now, so you don't have to worry about me taking up a seat, buddy. So.
Right. So you went to Tampa, West Palm Beach night 2, and then Jacksonville times 2.
Both of these, yeah.
That's a lot, but the good thing is you're the closest to home from any of the venues there. But that's a lot to go through. And what are your overall thoughts about this run? Tampa, 1 West Palm, and 2 Jacksonvilles.
I mean, I'm living literally a dream because, I mean, I moved from Virginia Beach last year and there was no show. And then I get down here and I hit both West Palms and I hit the Innings Fest in March. And anything within 300-mile radius I can get to, I'm going to go if I can. And when the tour came out in January, the dates, and I saw the first 5 shows were here, I'm like, you got to capitalize. I mean, that's something to be said about having them in a radius where you can drive to and back and not have to fly out somewhere and spend a lot of extra money. So, I mean, I wanted to do all 5, but I wasn't able to do night 1 West Palm. But I'm really glad, even with last night being a kind of a dud, I'm glad I went, man. I mean, I love seeing the band. They mean a lot to me, and just, there's no place I'd rather be at the DMP show at any night. So I'm just thrilled I was able to get 4 or 5,
Yeah. And thank you so much for Kenny for giving us your time. And I'm glad. I was rooting for you. I could sense last night you're like, yo, this can't be life. Like what in the when the world ends is this? But it all ended well. Safe travels or get some rest, and we'll hope to hear from you soon whenever you pick your next DMB show that's not Guilford.
Yeah, it's been a tough resting week. I've probably got about 8 hours sleep in the last 3 days combined. So yeah,
wow.
It's definitely going to home and crash and get up and do it all again tomorrow, minus the DMB shows.
All right. Have a good one. Take care.
All right, buddy. Take care.
All right. So that was Kenny, Virginia Beach native who's moved down to Daytona Beach, Florida. And in the time that he's moved down there, they have had some availability of a lot of shows. You've had some Florida heavy runs here recently, and he's taken advantage of that. He went to Innings Fest last year as well. We had him on there. We will. The outro will be Cameron, who's in the chat. His drum video from his recital that will close out the show. So stay tuned for that. I got the timestamp. He told me, he messaged me earlier. He said, start it at the timestamp. So some of the stuff at the beginning, of the solo, he didn't want to be played. But we're going to get to the timestamp and play that through. Next up, we want to hear from Kumi. So let me go ahead and play that audio. Let me know if you have issues hearing it. First, let me just hear which one is this first.
Part 2.
Oh, that's part 2. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and let's take the poster off. I will say the poster is, I have a Zaz Corp poster. The artist, let me just get that here. The artist in Zaz Corp, I believe it's a 2-person operation. I have one they did from from Mohegan. But Zaz Corp, it was Helen Kennedy from Zaz Corp that did the one today or tonight. But I really thought this was another great one for the series. And I think what's great about this is, they've had similar type of outline for posters, but they're in different parts of the country. So you could collect them all if you've been to all these shows. You could collect some of them if you like just one from each city, or if you're down in Jacksonville, but you weren't at the Hartford show or you weren't at the Camden show, that they've had other ones for Zaz Corp. You get one for your specific area. And again, it's not a Methane. So there you go. Methane trying to charge 80. I heard Methane is trying to charge $85 for like, if you buy the subscription plan, allegedly for each European tour poster, they'll ship one to you for $85. Some of those posters are collecting dust on the warehouse store for $60. They want you to pay $85 just for them to ship it out. Anyway, nonetheless, I hope this motivates Methane to put out better posters, though. All right, we're gonna hear from Kumi. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna just check my levels. I'm gonna turn my mic off, and we're gonna hear Kumi's review. It's a two-parter here.
What's up? It's Kumi DMB coming to you, recorded from the Daly's Place parking lot here in Jacksonville, Florida, not South Georgia. It's my buddy Steve, my buddy Chris in attendance with me. The set was great. I mean, we got Big Eyed Fish, Bartender. We got a Pentala into Granny for the first time ever, which was awesome. We got some cool stuff. I know Steve back there is a big Lionel Grace fan, which was amazing. Amazing. What else did we get tonight, guys?
Digging a Ditch
happened. That was a good song. When was the crowd the loudest? I think people really got hyped for Let's Dance.
Gray Street
Also, people really got hyped for Gray Street. I think we were sitting in section C7, which is like not all the way to the upper deck, but it's definitely not the lower level. We were in the pit last night, or me and Chris were in the pit last night, and Steve had seats. But we were like the back row of C7. The sound quality was still good. I thought we still had good sound there as well. I like the poster a lot. The poster's is Zaz Corp. I think Zaz Corp always does an awesome job. For whatever reason, I end up being at the shows that they make posters for. Like Camden Night 1 2022. Me and Chris were there. Got that Zaz Corp poster. Alfreda last year was a Zaz Corp as well. So I was at both of those shows, and I was at this one as well. I don't know if they've done more art for DMB, but those two shows and this one I've been at, which has been cool. They have a very familiar type of design. Coming at you from the Waffle House parking lot. We really like the venue. The venue is awesome. It's in the Jaguar Stadium. It's like attached to the Jag Stadium. We went to the south end zone. There's like a little opening where you can go onto the field. So we were able to go out there, which is pretty cool. It's like pretty much mostly covered, but the sun still comes in from one side. Like yesterday when we were in the pit, it was definitely getting hot down there. Today was a little bit cooler, which is nice. And we were also covered and shaded, but the sun would still come in from the side a bit. The venue I think it holds like between 5,500 and 7,000 people. So it was a little smaller than what you expect on the summer tour for sure. But I mean, it's an awesome venue. I'd love to come back here. Dave seems to like it. It seems like they play it every other year or so. I guess my favorite part of the show was definitely to see like Pentala and a Granny. It's never happened before, I don't think, which is awesome to see that they keep doing things like that are brand new. Like we saw Pentala and a Pig last week, and it's just cool that they're seeing that more, using it more. What was y'all's favorite moment of the show?
Big Eyed Fish for sure. Yep.
What about?
Spilled my beer. It's full.
I guess that happens up in the section we're in, but thanks for having me on, Marcus, and I will talk to you again soon.
All right, so we want to thank Kumi for sending those in. And what to put that poster back up. Carrie, moderator Carrie is on there. That is not Philly metro area Carrie. That is Arizona Carrie, who always gives me a hard time about Bayou. But no Bayou. So shout out to Carrie out there in Arizona. Y'all about to hit y'all fire season. Where it's like 110, you have to, and then by June, July, you gotta drain the pools, right? There in the metro that never stops growing, Phoenix. Stop moving to Phoenix, people. There's no more room. So there you have it. We heard from Kumi, we heard from Kenny, and we heard from Henry. And I want to thank them for coming on. If you guys are going to the H-Town show, or really technically it's in the suburbs north of the city, shout out to Houston. The food in Houston's amazing, and the Houston Rodeo is definitely something everyone should just check out. I've been to 2 different Houston rodeos nights. It's pretty cool. If you are going to Houston, make sure you have a car, because public transit is trash, just like Florida, and the freeways are wide, so you gotta have a car. If you're staying in Houston proper, it's a drive. So unless you got Uber money, and book those rides in advance for if you're leaving there. But most of y'all know that. Most of y'all are gonna be local. But if you are going to the Woodlands, then you got DFW, Dallas Fort Worth. So that's our Friday, Saturday run here. The boys will get closer to the bayou in 45 minutes from the beach. Shout out Galveston, Texas, for Friday. And then Saturday, they'll be far from any beach. And they'll be in Dallas, where people stop under the freeway when hailstorms happen. Like, there's a video online of all these guys in trucks that are 3 times the size of what a truck should be, thinking they're big and bad, don't mess with Texas. A little bit of hail and the whole interstate stopped. All these trucks stopped because I don't know why they don't know how to drive in hail. Like, what? Like, shout out to the Midwest. That would not happen in the Midwest. But there's a video of all these cars stopping in the DFW Metroplex. Like, come on, guys. You got all those trucks just to stop. That's not in the commercial. That's not in the Ford commercial. Built Ford tough, except when there's a hailstorm. Stop, drop, set them down, open up shop. Let me get this poster out the way. And we're going to set up Cameron's performance. I shared the link on X, on IG as well, on my story. Thank you to Gorge Crew. I think Pod that Jane likes, and Two Steph, they shared that around. And shout out to there was a missing Jackie. I think it was Jackie. Someone lost a bracelet that was in memory of their mother in Jacksonville night 1, and somebody found it and they returned it. Let's see if we can find that here. Hold on, let me see. I think it was, hold on. Let me switch to view screen. Let's see. But this was awesome. I don't know. Maybe they didn't post it. But anyways, I think it was Jackie. I think I know from Instagram, she lost it, and she lost her a bracelet, a necklace, and somebody found it. So that's great. What else did I say? Oh, another thing that's coming up. Let me switch it over. So, for people with Hilton Honors points and that have a lot to bid. Let's zoom in. There are some opportunities, like pre-show opportunities. Some of them are meet and greets. Some of them are just like tasting experiences. The meet and greet sold out in Boston, but in Chicago, it was a little bit differently. But Chicago, the Chicago show in 2022, where the band went back to the Chicago River where the tour bus dumped poop some years ago. Before the show, it was not based on bidding, but if you had a certain amount of points, you could request a meet and greet with Dave Matthews. You get to take a picture with them. You could bring, some people brought a +1. That was a special thing. Some of my friends were able to do that based on their travel miles for work, right? They go to Hilton hotels for work, and that's how they got in and were able to use those points. Now, one thing I want to thank people in the chat because they were able to clarify this for me. Essentially, you had to bid based on your points. So if you didn't have X amount of points, the highest bidders of points that they had saved up essentially were able to win some of these packages. So there was an ultimate experience in Camden that's still available, but the pre-show meet and greet in Mansfield/Boston sold out. So, and again, this is, I think the biggest thing about this time is it wasn't like a certain amount. You had to literally outbid everyone else. So you had to have a bunch of points sitting around. And so it is going to be a little bit tougher. It is a little bit more exclusive if you want to meet Dave. But there's some other things where there's some other packages where you get a free ticket and you get like a hotel accommodation, of course, at a Hilton. They're not going to put you in a Holiday Inn, right? That'd be fun. That'd actually be pretty funny. You use your Hilton reward points and they put you in La Quinta Inn or some like trashy hotel. Anyway. So there are some things going on there. What else do we have? Oh, I did post this. This was the. Let's see what else. You guys saw the weather reports. Oh, this is my favorite. This is this whole thing because people are like, don't compare shows. Don't do. Yeah, we're gonna compare shows and we're gonna talk about them. I said comparison is the thief of joy. There's no comparison to how tonight started versus last night. Complete 180. As every show, there, of course, on Facebook, someone said it should be a live tracks. Chill. Great show, but not a live tracks. By the way, we got new live tracks which was from a great era, 2002. So this was tonight, and then look at that. This was last night. The song that Jane likes is okay, but when you in Dirt Hill, old Dirt Hill is alright. But When the World Ends Funny the Way It Is versus the alternative, which is PMP to Granny Sweet Fish Tender. I'm gonna take that one. We do have live track 66 is from May 19th, 2002. Shoreline out there in Mountain View outside of the San Francisco Metro. And obviously, Shoreline, I don't think it's a thing anymore, right? Or the band played it. No, the band played it a couple years ago, but the band doesn't care about California anymore. It's not safe, and people keep getting robbed, even in rich areas. Actually, in rich areas, that's where they're getting robbed the most. So, California, you want more DMB shows? Clean up your act. Am I wearing a Trey shirt? It's a Trey. It's a Here, let me show you. It's from the Taboose tour. So Trey, Anastasio, and Goose. Here, I'll show you. There we go. Trey and Goose right there. That was a Taboose. Yeah, I got my I got to order my Jeff Coffin pants for the next post show stream there. But yeah, that's it, guys. Let me get out of here. It is 12. So it's past midnight here on the East Coast. And but we want to get to Cameron, so I'm gonna set this up. All right, so this is Cameron at his recital. We got it right at the timestamp. We'll play this for you guys. Shout out to him for playing The Last Stop. He didn't drum to Bayou, right? He picked the deep cut, deep tracks only. He didn't pick Come Tomorrow, right? This kid is smart. He already gets it. He gets it more than some of these adults get it. I want That Girl Is You to come back. No, stop it. No, full Last Stop. So this is the Last Stop reprise part here. And again, what's also great about this, I think that we should encourage these kids to perform in front of audiences with music. Ironically, at my church, we actually had a sixth grader sit in with our the band that I'm a part of for church, and he actually played through like a song and a half. It's just great to see kids who have that enjoyment of playing instruments, playing music. They're taking this stuff out of the schools. Some schools don't have the funding for instruments, so when you see kids that have this passion to get them in front of a crowd at a young age. One of the kids at my church who worked under the wing of musicians, he's part of the touring band for the R&B singer Monica. He started drumming at our church when he was like 6 or 7 years old, like literally playing in front of audiences at 6 or 7 years old. He learned keyboards, and for Monica, he's like Buddy. He can play the drums, he can play the keys, he can play bass as well, but he plays the keys primarily. He was on the Tiny Desk concert. His name's Adrian. But this kid who grew up, he was a couple years younger than me, just like Cameron's playing right now. He was playing in front of crowds at a young age, being highlighted. And now he's touring with Monica. He's part of the touring band that Monica takes around, and was on, Tiny Desk concert. Whether it's that or whether it's just a musical skill that you enjoy at your local bar or your local, talent show for the rest, for years to come, I think music's important. So shout out to Cameron. It's great to see kids who love this band and play the music here. And it just shows you the impact of the musicians in this band, especially Carter Beauford, who has a huge following. All right, so this is the Last Stop reprise. I feel you, Cameron. They kind of had him cut it down. They didn't let him play the full Last Stop, and he picked a live version to drum to, which is even awesome. Or then, having that awareness to pick a live version of Last Stop. Without further ado, I'll stop talking. You guys will be able to hear Cameron play the Last Stop. It's your boy Concert Vids 34. I'll see you in the suburbs of Houston. Well, I won't be there, but I'll be covering that show and calling people from the northern suburbs of Houston outside the Woodlands. Peace. Put some respect on his name. Shout out Cameron.